A long time ago, in a galaxy far away, the opening lines of one of the biggest movie franchises in the world, if not the biggest, and what is really behind it, what is the hidden messages behind it, and how has a space movie with spaceships and aliens set in the past, unlike any other film, the Star Wars film, the 6 films truly are more than just a movie. In fact, the line should really read, a long time ago, on this world that seems galaxies away from what it is today.
Greetings and welcome. This is going to be one of the first books I'll be reading from the Library of the Lost. This is one of Thoth's books about an allegory story, I suppose, about how the Force and the natural forces and how the Guardians came to be. But first, this is to those that lie to the 2.5 billion people in the world that say he created man and everything in it. He created the whole world all within 7 days, and that we all must get down on our knees, bow down and praise him, because he has only spoke to just one man at a time with no witnesses and always alone on some mountaintop. But as we see, these are just the mutterings of the madness of Sat and this chaos that still reigns our world, and that chaos is being adopted by 2.5 billion people, and that craziness and madness is what they carry around. If you notice how much hate is in the world and how much of it comes from those people that say, no, our religion is about love and salvation, but no, it's not. It promotes evil. They are fearful. They are afraid of the unknown. They are scared of mystery. They treat things that they don't understand just like they treat their own, just like they enslaved people, just like they made the feminine second class, just as they wanted more, and they wanted even more than the lines of kings and queens. So they adopted a new system, one where the conquerors would then take on the oppressor's religion. How would that happen in any other way? How had it been for centuries before? That didn't matter who had conquered who. Greeks had conquered India and conquered Egypt, and then the Romans conquered Egypt, but what they kept was those same pantheons that were not gods. That is just a later mistranslation, or a way for the man-made Sat Lord to then validate himself by saying, oh, there were gods before me, so why can't I be a god? I can do the job of all those pantheons. I, the follower of Sat, I just want your love. I just want your praise, and for that I will provide you nothing, but I will claim everything. I will claim your minds, your bodies, and then your luminous being. All of it belongs to me, and I will take all the basic needs to get this. Just reading quite an actually interesting book, to tell you the truth, of this. I don't know, well, it was actually recommended to me. I said, you've got to read this. You're going to find this really interesting. And I thought, what, bloody Star, you know what I mean? I didn't watch the film, so I'm not going to watch it. No, but this is different. No, honestly, you'll see something in this. And I've got to admit that I did see something. I saw something very obvious. You know, it's saying that with these words, I mean, you know, I have accomplished what no other Sith has done before. I have destroyed the Jedi. I have subverted Coruscant. I sit on the throne of the new Republic regime. I will reshape the great galactic empire according to my design. Then he's talking about how he got all these dark artifacts through trade, and he thought, how easy was that to do? how easy was that to do? And I don't even know what kind of voice he does, so you have to forgive me. But, and yet, there's something very obvious inside this. And this is what, when people have asked me like, well, if you don't think the Disney ones are, are a different message, how would you think the story would have gone? Because at the end of the day, it's a cycle. So the story is already there. It's just obviously done within his vision. But being told just the major parts, and I would see it as that, well, we know about the fall, which is the history, and we know about right now, which is a new hope, which is the Jedi, trying to overcome this darkness that is now trying to take away our liberties again. It's tightening that grip ever further. He wants control of our banks and our trade and our social media, our media companies. Everything that we see and watch is all controlled by them. It's not enough that that their brainwashing through religion for centuries has done major damage to the world. Not good. People say, oh, look at the good that it's done for the world, but it's not done good. Look at what we have done when we haven't had as much. Look how much we've progressed since that. And yes, that does mean obviously the weapons progress and the maniacs progress, obviously, but that's why it's still being run by that darkness. And you can see it's within the religions and what they preach. I mean, when they're talking about, they sacrificed, he was killed and it was bloodied up to here, and but the God, he commanded them to go to this Canaanite land and kill every last woman and child, and if they didn't, he would send bees to sting his own people, and he would smite them, and he would keep on smiting them because he is a ruthless, wrathful, evil man behind the curtain. And let's get it right. Let's get this whole story right as we are bringing it out now. And this is what we'll put right to that vicar of Christ, that papal team, that Palpatine in the Vatican. And we'll say, bring out the man from behind the curtain right now and let him take responsibility for the crimes against humanity from the papal bulls that enslaved a whole race, a whole continent of people, which my ancestry is from. And my ancestry travelled across the Atlantic in the most inhumane way. Luckily, it stayed within the crown for as long as possible. And, this is nothing against America, but it didn't have to put up with more slavery and more segregation, because that's what the founding fathers wanted. And it was nothing about tea and tax. And let's just get this straight. We have got letters to show. So they're all where they're writing to the king. Oh, George III, even in your madness, can we please just, we'll pay the tax, but can we just please keep the slavery? Or can we just please keep the slavery? And can we, who we're going to get to build our cities? We haven't even managed to tear across to the west of the land yet. But who's going to do all that? Who's going to build all that if we ain't got our slave labour? And that's what we were taught by our preachers. The good God up there, he says, the black Africans are less than men, just like the women are second class. And that's why Eve, that goddamn boop, what she done in that garden was just uncalled for, man. It was just uncalled for. She should not have been talking to no snake. As if a snake could actually talk anyway. I mean, these are the ones that talk about magic and black magic. They even have to make magic racist. I mean, this is coming from a country that made the N-word the most horridest, dirtiest word the world has ever seen. And why it's become ineffective is because the black people got to know what it actually means. That it's just a Latin word for black. So in a way, what you've been calling me for the last 300 years is what I am. And let's get this down in writing that, yes, I am black and African and African American. And don't forget that actually I am American too. And I have the liberties, which is supposed to be written in the Constitution, that every man is free. The church and the state are not married together, where it's okay, we will have church and state then, but the religion has got to be Christian. It's okay, as long as you're anything else, unless you one of the GBLT or whatever they call it. If you're one of them, you're an abomination. You can't have you in our church with you doing all that abominable stuff. How those preachers can say anything like that is why there's thousands of kids dying in Africa every day, and the church does nothing, because what they are doing is paying off all those paedophiles that they have across there, because as the church numbers are dropping everywhere else, America is building mega churches. I don't know why this is happening for such a advanced culture. I don't know, some people, and this is where it does shock me a bit, right, when I hear things like this, because we have a lot of American allies and friends and personal colleagues, friends who sit on the council while I'm sitting on the council with us. And yes, maybe there is crimes of the past, but there is for Britain, and there is for France, there is for Spain, there is for Portugal. Portugal were the ones who were given the first papal bull to enslave. So did we go and start moaning at them first? Well, then Spain were given the papal bull. It was, and the only thing that, really, and this is coming from a person of no nationality. We are of no nationality, and that is why when you'll see soon that we are owning 8, not Jedi temples, because that gives it the wrong message, because temples, that word, just like the old word for priests, has been distorted. The priests and temples are nothing like the priests and temples that you think of today. So we can't call it a temple. In the wisdom I have is that I have lifetimes with inside. That's why I know that all this knowledge without having to go into the library, into looking through the library, the lost library, which people have been calling the Hall of Records or something from Atlantis, But in people's ignorance, you nearly had one of the worst people who made bad choices. Let's get it right. Who was born a Christian, who made bad choices, which not everyone thought he was bad. A whole country and more believed in what he was doing. In fact, and this is to put this, honestly, this is to put this to those very fanatical religious in the Bible Belt in America. So if you think Hitler is your entity of evil, then, well, you were the ones that funded him. You were the ones that he modelled after. You were the ones that the British Prime Minister or the French couldn't go to him and say, why are you doing this to the Jews? Not that they were even bothered, really, because it was no one went to war over the Jews. And this is not an attack on Jews or anything like that. I'm just saying that it was anti-Semitism did not start with Hitler. And I am in no way, before you even say, a fan of, and I do not do black magic. Although the black magic or the magical you're talking about is just a science that's yet been discovered, which has now been discovered, and you'd be exploding brains when you find out which things used to be called magic, just like the multiple times table. So I mean, people can't remembering that in rhymes or in stories, just like 2 and 2. You know what I mean? Just like you do today. And when you're talking about incantations and your rituals and you're drinking blood and eating bodies of a Christ that isn't even the one that you think he is, never mind the Yahweh that is not even a god and was a lesser god of Canaan. And we have all that for you. We have all that. And this is what, been waiting for